arguably considered one of the best matches on WCW Monday Nitro, especially in 1999, where at this time WCW was on a huge decline after the events of the Finger Poke of Doom and all that happened. Um, this is talking. I'm talking about Sting versus DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, on the April 26, 1999 edition of Monday Night Nitro, and like this was add in the benefit of a very hot crowd, add in the technical prowess, add in the ring awareness, add in the cocky heel of Page, add in the heroism of Sting, and you have the chemistry for a potentially great bout. And they certainly delivered. It was a pay-per-view worthy main event match, but this was aired around 9 p.m. Back then, Monday Night Show was 3 hours long, and this aired in the second hour, not the third hour. It wasn't the main event. I'll get to the main event in a sec. Um, like DDP and Sting, like at first the match started out a little bit slow, like you had to get that kind of feel, the energy to get going, and then about what 5 6 minutes in, it started getting really really hot, and then all of a sudden the referees getting more creative leeways to let the wrestlers go outside the ring and fight, and which I thought, like, you don't see that nowadays. Nowadays, the referee just stays by the book. Now you don't see the referee getting creative relay to say this is a championship match. These people pay good money to see a clear winner. I'm gonna give them a clear winner, so I'm gonna let them have some creative leeway. Like, you don't see that nowadays with WWE or a lot of other wrestling companies, as far as I can tell. I don't really watch a lot of indie wrestling, so I could be wrong there. This match was pretty awesome. It was possibly DDP and Sting's best match ever. DDP considers it one of his best matches, if not the best match he ever had. And this was possibly Sting's best match under the Crow gimmick at this time. So it made for a very, very scientific wrestling bout. The fact that they managed to get creative leeway to go out and do as much as they can, and they went at this for like 19 minutes and 54 seconds from what I gathered, so a total of 20 minutes in total. So to see this technical prowess match and seeing the ring awareness that went on and seeing how creative the match got, like how Diamond Dallas Page was the arrogant, cocky heel, like Seth Rollins is today, and most likely will be a face when he returns from injury. Um, he did, and this match was pretty clean. It had no outside interferences like you would expect on modern WWE nowadays when a championship match happens. There was a clear ending. There was a clear finish. There was no screw job. There was no backstage. There was no backstage interference. There was no of that political crap that goes on with the ring in storyline terms. Not the backstage politics that destroyed Nitro or WCW as a whole and is crippling WWE. Um, but this was arguably their best match together, and I think it is their best match together. I haven't watched a whole lot of DDP or Sting's matches in the past. Like, I think they encountered each other like 3 times at this point, and then they just started to, and then WCW got cocky and said, hey, they managed to get a great match together, let's do it again, this time on Thunder, and then rehash it again and again, and this time no build up, no hype. Like, if this match was billed and hyped up as the biggest match ever, then it would have delivered. This certainly would have delivered as the best match on WCW. But this match happened on the fly. It was not really built up. It was not really hyped. They had to go in this match how to deliver a match that was not built up, not hyped. And that's the major flaw with this match. It was the fact that it wasn't built up, it wasn't hyped up. And DDP had just recently come off getting this title reign, and he ultimately loses the belt after 15 days from Spring Stampede, after a what many people consider a good Fatal 4-Way match between Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Sting, and DDP himself, with Macho Man Randy Savage as the referee. Um, it was like at this point, WCW was just doing anything they can to get the ratings in, to get good ratings, and try to beat WWE. But when WCW did the Finger Poke of Doom, it kind of cost everything, and now people just weren't really being watching it since they feel like they would be insulted again. So I understood that. But if WCW never did the Finger Poke of Doom, there was a chance this match would have helped WCW get a ratings victory over Raw at this date. I'm not 100% certain. Like, anything is possible, I guess. But ultimately, Sting and DDP at the end reversed the Tombstone Pile Driver multiple times. It was just awesome. And then Sting latched onto the ropes to try and prevent the Diamond Cutter from happening, which is great ring awareness, as everyone can tell. And then ultimately, Sting gets the Scorpion Death Drop and gets the count to the 3. And you expect, all logic aside, to be having this title reign until at least Slamboree. Unfortunately, they booked a fatal 4-way match with Sting, Goldberg, Kevin Nash, and DDP that same night, and DDP wound up getting back the title, which begged the question: why didn't you just put this as the main event and let DDP retain the title? It would have been a great match, and DDP would have made to look strong in this bout. Like, he was strong in his match with Sting. He didn't look weak whatsoever. But like, how does this help? Like, this was WCW trying to get just anything they can out of this stuff to try and get ratings victory over Raw, but at this point it was already too late. And if they did this in during what many people consider the golden age of WCW, it could work as a ratings victory, but people would be like, "Well, why did you do that? Why? No, 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 no. That was bad." And also, DDP playing this arrogant role he was at when he was a heel at this time, like, it reminded me a lot of Seth Rollins, but there was major differences. Like, he didn't like have outside interference. He didn't look incredibly weak. He didn't look like a weakling who couldn't back up what he said. He didn't lose every single match. He looked threatening. He looked great. He looked the part. He played the part. And whereas whereas heels nowadays just stand in the ring and just pose and arrogantly, the DDP actually came out of the ring whenever he was thrown out, and when the fans were chanting at him saying he sucked or he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, you can't beat Sting, he actually would interact with the crowd, like get up close to their faces and threaten them. So I was like, okay, that's a good angle they pulled. So add in, like I said, add in an arrogant heel, great technical prowess, ring awareness, Sting being the harrowing good guy with the crow gimmick. Add in 20 minutes, and from what I gathered, they had a few extra minutes of leeway just to improvising. From what I've gathered, from what I heard, but I'm not sure about that. But I wouldn't be surprised since WCW was horribly mismatched at this point. So anything is possible. So those are my thoughts on Sting versus DDP, April 26th, 1999, episode of WCW Monday Nitro. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.